Now, Rick Santorum is about one of the most shameless defenders of Donald Trump alongside Lindsey Graham. Now, he's going to show that on CNN by defending Donald Trump's admission that he's willing to take foreign dirt on his political opponents if that gives him an advantage in the election. Let's take a look.
To solicitation of all those emails.
Laura, you're introducing a bunch of facts that George Stephanopoulos never said. George Stephanopoulos didn't ask him whether he was soliciting. He said if someone came to you. So the president wasn't answering questions about soliciting information. He was saying if someone came to you and said, hey, I have some dirt, and he was talking more colloquially. And again, I think the president's word is often are imprecise and not necessarily, that's why I think he didn't want to be interviewed with Bob Mueller, is that he tends to sort of ramble and talk about things more loosely. And I think he was talking more of a general political context that we get opposition research all the time. When you get opposition research in a campaign, you don't call the FBI. I mean, I got folks who threw information at me in all of my campaigns, and no, I never called the FBI.
Right, but did you get it from Russia or Norway?
If I knew that information was coming from a foreign source, sure, I would call the FBI.
Okay, but that's not what the president said. He didn't say yes.
He said he would.
Exactly. And
he said he would do more.
And more than that, Rick.
No, he didn't. He said, maybe I'd call the FBI, but then again, who calls the FBI? So he basically contradicted himself. That's not a surprise. He contradicts himself all the time. And then made fun of the idea of calling the FBI. And also said, well, it's not like they have the agents to deal with it anyway. They don't have enough agents. Oh, well, gee, I wonder who is in charge of funding the FBI. Right now, that would be the Republicans that are in power. So maybe you could say, hey, maybe we need more agents. So just in case people get campaign contributions from Norway, which would be interesting, then we can maybe do something about it so we could prevent more further interference in our elections. Which, by the way, Mitch McConnell is blocking every measure passed that would prevent the interference of elections. So just think about that. Let that kind of sink in for a minute. Now, Santorum also said of this, quote, he has sort of, as we all do, filler words that don't mean what they say. Like, I think. Don't believe your lying ears. No. You didn't hear what he actually said because those were just filler words. Hey, hilarious. That is a ridiculous defense. Now, he wants to talk about solicitation, right? Okay, well, let's talk about a specific instance of solicitation, right? Because he said, well, look, it's not like Donald Trump was saying he was out there soliciting help from other countries. Well, maybe not yet. But back in 2016, there's a little bit of an example when he asked Russia to help find the emails that Hillary Clinton was missing, the 33,000 emails. Why don't you hack the Democrats to find the emails? Well, that's a little bit of solicitation, right? I'm just saying. Oh, but okay, on this one, he never did say, "Oh, look, I'm not gonna like." He never said, "I'm going to solicit that information." He said, "Well, if they come to me, then yeah, I'll take that information." Well, that's still a crime. Message received, right? Now other countries know that if they have damaging information about one of Trump's opponents and they want to get on his good side, well, then he'll take it. Now, why would any other country want to give information to Donald Trump to help him win? Well, that would be influence. In order to get some influence, right? Hey, remember when we gave you that information about, for example, Joe Biden, right? So if they ever had any information, okay, well, now we would like something in return. Maybe a better trade deal for us, or maybe just for you to stay out of our business. Do we have a deal? I mean, again, I already helped you, and what we did, kind of illegal because it's a campaign contribution. So if you don't want that getting out, maybe you can help us out. See, that's the problem with taking what amounts to campaign donations from foreign entities. There are reasons that we have laws against that. Now, it's also the problem from taking any sort of campaign donation from any other source. It gives them influence over you. And it ends up undermining actual democracy. And so, look, I really hope we have a discussion about this, about how not only giving opposition research to candidates or whatever from foreign governments leads to corruption, leads to influence from that, person that's giving that campaign contribution in the form of either opposition research or basically a campaign check, perhaps. I hope we can have more of a discussion on the broader impacts of money in politics, or what what is considered right now speech. Because this is a discussion that we as a country, we really need to have. It is a practice that basically is amounted to legalized bribery. Now, I'm sure, of course, pundits will continue to ignore that part of the conversation. Anderson Cooper didn't really mention that. And there's a reason why, of course. Because a lot of that money given to candidates by corporations and wealthy donors ends up going into television ads. So it gets funneled through the candidate, and they spend it on TV. That's how these corporations, these telecommunications companies, get so much money off elections. Now, it's for foreign donations, which, again, this is because opposition research is considered a campaign contribution, and under law, you cannot take those campaign contributions from foreign companies or countries as well. Then this is an admission to Trump wanting to commit a crime. The same kind of crime that he and Don Jr. were already investigated for. And that investigation was, of course, blocked and obstructed. But yet here he is admitting that he would absolutely do it. It's completely indefensible. But as usual, there are the sad sycophants that go on television, like Rick Santorum, that are more than happy to try to defend this. Not just Santorum, but also Laura Ingraham and a lot of the people over at Fox News. I got to give rare credit to Brian Kilmeade for saying, no, this is not acceptable. The president needs to clarify his statement, because if you get opposition research from a foreign government, then that gives them influence over you. And for once in his life, Brian Kilmeade is absolutely correct, whereas a lot of the other Fox hosts, or nearly all the other Fox hosts and Republicans, are deeply incorrect and are just supporting corruption. Then again, knowing the state of the Republican Party, are we really all that surprised? Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.